Hey everybody, welcome back to the Back to Bits podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always, D-Pad Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What is up, John?
What's up? Nothing. Nothing but tiredness and glad it's Friday and the weekend will not be long enough. Other than that,
Oh,
yeah.
you're preaching that gospel, sir.
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, and then it's like we were just talking. This week has been the fastest moving week yet, the longest days, and I don't understand
Right.
why.
It almost feels like each individual day, as it gets closer to the weekend, has been longer,
Yeah,
and just making you earn the next day that much more.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, and we've flown through June and July. We're going
Yeah.
into August now. It's like when
Yep.
everything was on lockdown. It was like, oh my gosh, March is just slogging through. April, it's just slogging through. Then June gets here and it's just like,
Boom, boom. Yeah.
it's like Christmas will be here before you know it.
Seriously, dude.
That's why I'm already buying Christmas presents, because if I don't, I'll forget. So
Yeah, I should probably start on that as well. I usually try to get it all done before December hits,
yeah,
or at least most of it.
we were real good a year or two ago. We got done in like August. We
Nice.
hit Walmart. They had lots of awesome clearance stuff that we wanted to get the kids for Christmas. It's like, this is perfect. And August rolled around and we was done. Not doesn't work that way anymore, but it happens. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. It'll happen at some point.
Oh yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into man, if I'm already starting to get tongue-tied at the beginning, this is going tuck in. This is going to be a heck of a show.
Be a long one.
Yeah, this is going to be a long one. New pickups or anything that, or what we've been playing. I have no pickups. I picked up nothing. I tried to pick up something today, and I sent you a message about it.
Man, why don't you go into a little bit more detail? Because man, I think I was more mad about it than you were, because I was already having kind of a crappy day. But you just
I don't know. I was pretty mad. So I was working from home today. I had a lot of computer work to catch up on, paperwork to catch up on, and with it being the end of the month, it's expense report day. So I like to get my they require it in the first week of the month. I prefer to get it in the last day of the month, just so I don't have to worry about it. So.
Sure.
So I got done going through receipts, typing it all up, getting everything on. I look at my phone, and on Facebook, somebody was selling 2 NESs with like, I don't remember how many games was with it. A lot of
like
games.
18 games or something.
There was quite a few games, and they were like, send me an offer. I want to sell it cheap. I just want to get rid of it. They didn't have power cords. It didn't look like the NESs were in that good a shape, and they may not even worked, and that was fine. But I thought, well, shoot, I'll send them a message. So I just shot them a message and say, hey, how much is cheap? How much you want for all this? And they were like, you know what? If you bring me $20, you can have it all. Okay. So I was an hour away. I sent a message. I said, okay, where you want to meet? And they said, this is where we want to meet. And I said, all right, I'm leaving the house right now. I will be there in 1 hour. And took off, got 20 minutes up the road, and I got a message from the person that said, hey, wait a minute, don't leave, my car won't start. Then it went from pending to sold. And I messaged them and I said, so you sold it? Well, I told you not to leave the house. I'm like, yeah, you told me not to leave the house 30 minutes after I'd already sent you a message and left the house. So what happened is they just decided to sell it to somebody else instead of waiting another half hour for me to get there.
Somebody probably messaged them and said, hey, I'll give you $50. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, sure.
And so before I blocked the person because I did not want to see another one of their sales ever again, I sent this big long message to them and said, look, you don't have to be rude and inconsiderate about it. I traveled 25 miles up the road, had to turn around and travel 25 miles back. It took me 50 miles and an hour's worth of drive out of my day for nothing. I said, it's rude, it's inconsiderate, and I said, if you wanted more money, then either A, you should have said more money to begin with, because I would have happily paid more money, and B, you shouldn't have said $20, because that's what you said. I specifically asked you, so don't go into it and say, oh, well, I'll take $20, and then the first $30 that comes along, oh, well, I'll take that. Well, then just tell me what you want. At least do me the common courtesy of maybe apologizing and just tell me. Just be honest with me, But they didn't even apologize. They were just like, well, I'm not going to argue with you. Well, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just telling you that you're being rude.
Telling you like it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
what are you going to say to argue with that? Like,
yeah.
you know that this is what happened. So, of course you're not going to argue. You have no argument.
Yeah. So, once again, Facebook Marketplace wins. It's,
yeah, I try not to mess with people on Facebook. And, my wife has all but stopped doing it, too, because the last couple times she's had something similar happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't know why you keep dealing with these jokers, because it's always a bad experience.
Yeah.
And there's not really like a good way to leave feedback for somebody on Facebook Market. It's not like on eBay where you can just look through easily and be like, oh,
Right.
well, okay, this person's screwing people over.
Well, and
it's I mean, some groups keep up a document and stuff.
Well, and even on Marketplace, they used to have a user rating, and you could see it. It would have stars down on the bottom of it, and if they had so many stars, you could click on it and then say it would tell you, oh, well, this person is fair pricing, or they're on time, or what's wrong if people live in it. So I left them negative feedback. I even reported the post to Facebook. You could do that and say, well, what was the problem? Did you buy this item? No. Well, why didn't you buy this item? Well, because they went ahead and sold it before I...
Yeah, they reneged on the deal.
Yeah, so there's ways, but it's just for some reason it doesn't pop up. But, apparently it must be a usual thing for people to get stood up around here, because there's a lot of times when we sell something on Facebook Marketplace or I buy, and the person messages me like 4 or 5 times when I'm on the way to meet, are we still meeting? Is everything still all right? Or still, you could tell people.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you showed up.
Yeah.
You didn't stand me up, and I just wasted my day. Thank you so much for being an honest person.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap.
Like, what kind of a world is it where that's so seldom that people get excited about you acting like a normal, about being treated like people? It's crazy.
And like I said, it seems to happen all the time around here. It's like, why waste people's time? And around here, if you want to, unless it's somebody right in town, you have to go a ways. You have to meet somebody somewhere, and I don't know. It was aggravating, but
I'll buy stuff from some of the groups that do, the shipping thing, because I don't want to go meet anybody in Target parking lot or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've went with my wife a couple times to do it, because, you want you want to be protected, even though it's a public place, stuff still happens,
Yeah.
But I just, if you want to ship me something, I'll send you some PayPal. And if, I don't get it, then I can set up a stipulation with PayPal, get my money back, and you'll get banned from the group that we worked out the transaction in.
Or you could be like me on eBay and sell that Cosmic Blue PlayStation 3 controller, and then a month later the person says, well, I want to return it because it doesn't work. And I'm like, what are you using it on? Oh, I'm trying to use it on a Mac and my iPhone. Yeah, that won't work because...
That's not what it's made for.
Got to be jailbroke. Your systems have to be jailbroke for it to work on there. And then I get eBay involved, and eBay's like, well, we'll take a look at this. Well, they're going to return it, and you're going to refund them their money, and we're going to charge you shipping to send it back to you.
That's dumb.
Really? Even though I put in there that they weren't using it on a PlayStation 3. They were trying to use it on something that they couldn't use it on. And that's not my fault.
It's not your fault they bought it thinking they could use it in a manner in which they couldn't.
Well, and plus you even if you turn no returns on, they could still say, well, it doesn't work, and they can bypass that no returns, which is bull crap. So I have that controller come back, and then I'll turn right around and put it back on eBay again to sell it. It's like, oh my God. So I'm out fees, I'm out shipping. I think all in all, I end up losing like $15 on it, on the whole deal, just because I have to, pay for shipping back and PayPal fees and eBay listing fees and everything else. It's ridiculous. It's getting to the point where you can't do anything, and I don't know. People are dumb.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
But one thing that I have been playing, and I haven't played it a whole lot, our friends over at Megavisions Magazine posted a review about it, and they retweeted the developer, and I saw the trailer. I was like, holy crap, I've never heard of this game. And if any of you people listen to the podcast from last week, the regular Lounge podcast, I talked about this. It's Panzer Paladin. My best way to describe what kind of game it is it's a NES style game, and it's a cross between Blaster Master and Metal Storm. Whew, boy, that one just hopped right out of my head. I had the little robot in my mind. And what's cool is you're in a mech suit. You're a little dude in a mech suit, and the mech suit appears to be sentient from what I can take from the cutscenes. I don't know if it really is or not. It seemed like it was talking, but I only saw one cutscene. So
I will say you're actually a little chick. I think you're a female character.
Yes, you are. You're a female character. You're a female character.
You're not a little dude.
Everybody's a dude to me, whether they're
semantics, but that one looks really good. To me, it looked like it. Yeah, it looked like a mix between Blaster Master. It's funny that you said that because you can get out of the thing. It looked like a mix between Blaster Master and almost like Shovel Knight because you can do kind of because the robot has like a weapon, right? It's not shooting.
Right. Yeah, it has a shield which blocks everything, and like let's say somebody's shooting straight at you, he'll block it with a shield until you whack with a sword, of course. But if somebody shoots low, all you got to do is push down, and you'll block it down. So I mean, he's always walking. He's not very fast. He just walks at a normal pace, and it's a side scroller, so it's from point A to point B with some platforming in it. And you have different weapons that you can pick up along the way. There's swords, there's axes, there's clubs, there's I forget what all there is. There's all kinds of different things. And the ones that you can collect, you can modify them in your garage or your armory and make different weapons. But the thing about it is the weapons degrade. So they will break on you.
Gotcha.
And you use your weapons to unlock checkpoints. And what I mean by that is there's one checkpoint in a game. Usually it's either halfway through the level or right before the boss. And you get to that checkpoint, you have to take a weapon and stick it in that checkpoint to unlock that checkpoint. If you don't, then you start back at the end of the game or at the beginning of the level.
So you have to sacrifice a weapon to get through. You have to pay it.
Right.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, and I think you can carry 2 or 3 weapons on you at one time, and then every other weapon you carry, it goes into your armory. So then you can go back and modify your weapons. You can name them whatever you want, and they all have different attributes of like hit points and dexterity, or so they last longer and stuff like that. But it's for $20, it is awesome, and I totally could see like Limited Run or one of those companies making a
physical copy
of this because it's awesome. It
looks really good.
It's worth $20. I was happy to pay $20 for it, and I'll be happy to pay $35 for it if it comes out physical.
It's definitely one that's on my radar. And another cool thing that that I saw in the trailer is it actually has a pixel editor, so you can modify the way your weapons look. Like it showed them on the trailer changing the pixels, and it turned the robot's sword into a dead fish, just a set of fish bones it was whacking at the enemies. And I'm like, that's really cool. I think that's going to have quite a bit of draw for a lot of people for that artistic factor. But it looks really good. It looks like it could be the next, air quotes, the next big indie game potentially.
I mean, I think so. I mean, the music in it's really good. The pixel art is great. The pixel cut scenes are just really, really cool. I mean, it feels more like I'm playing a 8-bit or 16-bit, game. And it just feels good. It feels really good. And it's perfect. It's perfect on the Switch.
Right.
You can play it on Steam as well. It's on Steam and Switch. But honestly, to me, playing it on the Switch, I haven't played it on the TV. I've only played it in the handheld mode on the Lite. But yeah, I mean it's really cool. I was, as soon as I saw it, I didn't even read their review. I just saw the trailer for it, and I went, well, crap, I'm gonna have to buy this. And that's why I was sitting there on the couch looking at it. I looked over at the wife. I go, I'm buying a game. I said I wasn't planning on buying a game this month, but here we go.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that you didn't hear about it prior, because I remember I saw a trailer for it, and it was like, oh, it comes out in 2 days or something like that. And I'm like, this game looks fantastic. Like, what? Or maybe it was the day it came out, and I saw it, and I'm like, this is crazy. I've never heard of it. It looks really good. And then 2 days later, I start seeing people posting it about it on Twitter. But yeah, it looks really good. That one's on my radar, and another one that I want to pick up is Superliminal, where it has all the it's a first person puzzle game where it's got perspective puzzles and stuff where it shows like you picking up a switch off of a table and backing up and dropping it, and then it slams on the table because it's larger, because it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
That one looks really cool.
Yeah, I remember seeing a little bit about that one too. I was real surprised though that like this Panzer Paladin game wasn't in like an indie Nintendo Direct or something like that. I mean, that just seems to be one that Nintendo would just showcase, especially since it's not on any other console but Steam. Those are usually the ones they gravitate to and are really, really push on directs and on the store page and stuff. But I'm here, Pete.
That's why I said like it was weird that it was one of those things that just popped up out of nowhere, and it was just wow. Okay, well here's this really cool looking game.
Yeah, wow. Here we go, $20. It's like I've been real good this month. Not playing games. I got Ghost of Tsushima in, which I haven't even started yet. I downloaded it to my PlayStation 4, and there's been 2 updates come out since then, and I still have literally watched the opening cinematic and went, yes, this game will be awesome, and I need to play it, but I don't have
this
time.
Game will be awesome.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, but I have no time to sit in front of the television, which I may end up doing tonight. So, I mean, I haven't had time. But, I was like, well, I got to buy it. I got to buy this game. This $20 indie game is totally worth it. So, Danny, what have you gotten? Anything recently?
Not too much, man, really. But I did order, there's a game for PS3 that I learned about on GameSack years ago, and it looked really good. And every time I go to a game store or a yard sale that has PS3 games, I always look for this game specifically, and I just never come across it. So I just broke down and I ordered a copy on eBay. I bought the Favoritos version, which is I think what I can gather is the South American greatest hits version, but it's still the same region. So it's, I think I got a brand new. I got a brand new for $10.
Wow.
But the game is called Vanquish.
Yep.
It's
awesome.
Is it? You've played it?
Yeah. It was free on PlayStation Plus a long time ago, and this came out while I was working at GameStop. So I remember buying it and playing it. It's a awesome cover shooter game. Is what I call it. I call it a third person.
Yeah, it's kind of like a futuristic, like the aesthetic almost has kind of a Halo kind of universe type feel to it, but it's almost like a squad-based shooter where you're taking cover behind stuff. And usually that sort of thing's not really my cup of tea, but it looked really good, and I'm like, that's a mental note to make of that one. And I always look for it. I never found it, and I thought, what the hell?
I played it way back when it came out. I liked it, and I was going to pick it up, and I never picked it up, and then it came free on PlayStation Plus, so I was like, well, it's on my PlayStation 3, and I think it was even free on Games with Gold for 360, and they released a remastered version of it on Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Oh, wow.
And it was the Bayonetta Vanquish 2-pack.
Okay.
HD
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's like a steelbook collection of those 2 games remastered in HD for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It was like $40, I think, for the set of them, or you could buy them digitally for $20 a piece.
Interesting. Well, yeah, when it was new, I guess either I didn't have a PS3 or I wasn't putting money into the PS3 or just may not have even been aware of it.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I said, it's not typically the type of game that I gravitate towards. So maybe I saw it in a Game Informer at one point and just kept on flipping because I'm like, okay, shoot, not my thing. I mean, who's to say?
It is a very underrated game, and it's a Sega game, and a lot of people just kind of looked at it and went meh, and moved on, and it's really, really cool. I think you'll like it a lot.
Well, that's good to hear because it got good praise in the video, and I'm like, yeah, that does look fun. So, I'm not trying to set the bar too high, but I'm expecting good things.
Yeah, well, and it's cool to get a game every once in a while that's really, really great, but you don't have to think too much about it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to shoot something or just zone out into an open world run around kind of game. I get it.
Yeah. It's just, I've got it on 360 too.
Nice.
I got it digitally on 360. The games with gold are really cool on the 360 if you're a gold member or a Game Pass Ultimate, because those 360 games they give you, you get to keep them no matter what. You know, if you stop paying for gold, you still keep the 360 games. You don't keep the Xbox One games, but you do keep the 360 games. So, yeah,
well, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it on. I've got a copy on the Xbox. I've got a copy on PlayStation 3.
Well, maybe you should play it again sometime.
I need to. Well, it's backwards compatible on Xbox One, so I need to download it and just play it on the Xbox One, because like I said, back in the day when I worked at GameStop, they would allow you to check games out every night.
Yep.
And I remember when it first came out, I took it home and played it that evening. But I took it back the next day. Not that I wasn't going to beat it. It was like I like to take new games, play them real quick, and then take them back the next day just to say, yeah, I played that game. Of course,
right. So you know what you're talking about when the customer asks, well, what about this one? How's this one? Well, from what I checked it out, but yeah.
And everybody hates that now because it's like, oh, well, I got a game that wasn't sealed at GameStop. Yeah, it's because
nobody really used to care. I mean, back before people were collecting modern games.
Yeah, nobody cared. But yeah, but that's fun. Yeah, it's a sweet game. So, but what have you been playing?
I was getting ready to say, as far as what I've been playing, I've honestly, in between, doing stuff for videos, of course, which, shameless plug, I did put out a new YouTube video, Games for Kids, last week, a week ago as of this recording, anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There was a couple good, there was a couple good unintentional one-liners that I was like, that was hilarious,
my son's in it. We had a special guest appearance, and he did a great job. He was super excited about it, and it was a lot of fun. So
I just like to hear him in the middle of, this game sucks.
I don't like this game very much. But in between that stuff, like, when I'm kicking back, like watching Netflix or Hulu or whatever on the couch at night, I've been playing my Switch quite a bit. And here I beat Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Wow.
I've had it for a while. I actually have a sealed Wii U version with the amiibo, because somebody had posted on one of the Facebook groups a hot tip at the time where Nintendo had some old stock on their their official eBay. They were liquidating, and they had them for $20 for Wii U sealed with the amiibo. And I'm like, well, that's basically just paying for the amiibo plus shipping. So I still have that one, but I've never opened it, and it came out on the Switch, and I picked it up, and I had it for a while, and my son actually ended up opening it up and beating it before I even got a chance to play it, which was fine. I told him he could. But I finally was like, this could probably be a good casual game to play in between doing stuff. And it was fun. I played through it, the first chapter anyway. I didn't go in for like the second part, which I might. I mean, it was enjoyable enough to where I might play it again.
There's a lot of levels in that game, especially the Switch version, because they added even more to it than they did on the Wii U version. So.
Right, yeah, because I think the episode 2 is the new stuff. Yeah. It's like I beat the core game now, but there's more. And I've also, like I mentioned last episode, I've been doing that kind of book of the month book club sort of thing with me and my buddy, but we've been doing it with point and click games on the Switch.
Right.
So we did The Almost Gone, and that was pretty good. Yeah. And so now we've been playing through My Brother Rabbit, which is kind of a fantastical kind of one that we've been playing through. Yeah. It's got it shows the story of this little girl that's assumedly terminally ill, and her brother has this rabbit stuffed animal that he kind of plays with to kind of cheer her up. And so the stages are in this fantastical imagination land where the rabbit is trying to get this flower creature, this female flower creature, assumedly like the in-game version of the sister, to a doctor to get her fixed up and stuff. And it's got a lot of search and find, and it's not bad. It's kind of like how we had talked last time again on games that had a little taste of a genre, where like roguelite, or a game that has some Metroidvania elements like Xeodrifter, where it's just enough to sate your craving, but not a full on, oh my god, this is going to be a huge experience. It's kind of like that. there's no inventory object puzzles. You don't move inventory between screens. Everything's on each screen. But you'll find like a puzzle, and it's like, oh, well, you need to collect all these starfish that you've seen all over the place. And I'm like, okay, so you got to collect these starfish to even do the puzzle. You collect the starfish and do the puzzle, and then it opens up another thing. And it's pretty fun. I'd recommend it. It's another episodic one. It's in 5 stages. He beat it the other night. I still have to play the last stage. I haven't gotten a chance to, but I'm looking forward to it. And it was on sale when I got it for like $1.30. Like I said, that's one of those ones I got super cheap when I went through the eShop just trying to buy up cheap point and click games.
I'm pretty sure I bought this one as well, and I haven't even booted it up yet. So I was
check it out, man.
I was trying to look at the Nintendo site since I don't have my Switch right here, and it wants me to do a 2-step verification, and I apparently cannot do for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, like I said, it scratches the itch for the point and click, and also for the puzzle game, in a nice, really casual, like almost kid family friendly way, because it's very accessible. You know, it's like younger people might be able to play it. The puzzles aren't super hard, but they're enough to get your brain juices going.
Right.
I've been enjoying it.
I'm pretty sure I have this. There's a lot of games that I buy on Nintendo, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to play this someday, and then
it's like the Steam sale curse, right? Or the Humble Bundle curse. It's like, ooh, it's so cheap, I can't afford not to buy these games that I might play one day, and then you forget about it, and before you know it, you have a Steam library of like 1,000 games.
Well, and what's bad is with me is, you know, I was buying a lot of those games like that on the Switch. And then I went from a regular Switch to a Switch Lite. And then it was like, oh, yeah, there was a bunch of stuff I didn't download on my Switch Lite that I probably should download.
Right. And maybe even a couple games that you can't play on your Lite at all.
Yeah, but that could be too. Who knows? I don't know. I'm a bad habit of I have the Steam apnea, or whatever you want to call it, where I buy games, and then especially digital games that are on sale, and then it's like, well, I'll play them at some point. And you know, I did that with Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. You know, I bought it, and I played. Well, I thought I had played about halfway through it, and then I stopped. Well, come to find out, I only played a quarter through it. I'm still trying to beat that game, and it's just like, yeah, I understand that it's a very highly rated game. Tons of people love it. You know, it's a system seller. It's one of the best games on the PlayStation 4. Totally get that. Mm-hmm. Man, I am almost halfway through the last chapter of the game, and I'm just like, I'm ready for this to be over. It's just
has it turned into a little bit of a slog? Has the tedium set in?
Well, it's just for me. I think I've just played it too long. You know, 20, 30 hours. It's just like, okay, I think I'm done now. The first chapter was really, really good. The second chapter was awesome. The third chapter became Arkham City. And not that Arkham City is a bad game, but they let all the crazies out, and it literally became Arkham City, and I'm just going from boss to boss to boss to boss to boss until I get to the last boss, and it's just like, I'm just kind of done. I'm kind of done with
you've hit that maximum hour count of where you feel like you've gotten the robust experience out of the game, and you're just ready for it to be over.
Yeah, I'm just ready for it to be over. And I even stopped doing side quest stuff. It was like, because there's tons of side quests and side missions.
Oh,
it's
sure.
just like, I gotta stop. You know, that's what worries me with starting Ghost of Tsushima, because it's an open world game like that too. And it's like, man, am I going to get about halfway through this game and go, oh, this game is pretty, this game is awesome, the story's great, and it's starting to slog on, and I'm just kind of, I'm kind of over it. But it's only like a 20-hour game to beat, so
yeah, I mean, that's what's good, is a lot of the games like that, it's like there's where they provide so much to do, but they also have it to where you could beat it in 15 to 20 hours. I mean, look at Skyrim. Look at how much content is in Skyrim, but you could beat it in 20, 25 hours, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like if you just do the main story,
just doing the main story. Yeah, I mean,
right.
And that's fine. But man, it's like, I was like, with Spider-Man, I'm going to do every single thing, and if you do every single thing in the game, you platinum it. It's just like, I just kind of gotten bored with it. It's like, I guess, I mean, it's even gotten to the point where I don't swing from mission to mission anymore just to see the vastness of the city. It's like, oh, I can fast travel and be there in 2 seconds. Yeah, let me just get on the subway and just get there and go. And it's like, no, that's not the way the game is. You're supposed to play. Nah, I'm done. I'm just done with it. But not that that's not a knock on the game. I'm not.
No, I've heard nothing but good things. You hater.
Yeah, well, and it's like, and the way I say that, it kind of makes it sound like, oh, well, that game's not as good as everybody thinks says it is, and it's not. It's not that
if,
at all.
If everyone says it's good, it might be good. Yeah,
it's just there's a lot of games that I don't like that a lot of people like, and like one of them is The Last of Us. I despise that game. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. The setting is cool. The story is pretty cool, but just the overall, once I got into the game and started playing it, I just didn't care for it. I didn't care for the action. I didn't care for I just didn't like it. So, and I played it on the PlayStation 3, and then I tried to play it again on the PlayStation 4, and just it's like, nope. And when the second one came out and everybody just went crazy about it, I just went, meh, good for you guys. I just not even.
And the second one turned into one of those fandom nightmares, man. People sending death threats because the actor's portrayal because what the characters' actions, and sending death threats to the actors and actresses. That's insane. Like,
yeah.
These people are having trouble separating like fiction and reality. I mean,
and I don't know. It's
crazy.
And I mean, all the guys on the other podcast played it, and they just they loved it. It's their game of the year, and
right. It's one of those universally loved games. I picked it up on I picked up the remastered version on PS4 from like the $20 bin at Best Buy. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard so many good things, but I might play this one at some point, and I still will. But that's interesting. I think you're the first person who I've heard that said anything bad about it, honestly.
The only 2 people that I know that didn't like it was me and my buddy that I usually play multiplayer games with. And we're the only 2 people, I think, in the whole world that don't like that game. Wow. And he liked it even less than I did. He played it for less than I did and went, nope, I don't care for it. I mean, I love I bought at the time, it was the collector's edition. It came with the big book and on the PlayStation 3. And I was like, yeah, this game, I love post-apocalyptic games. And,
this is going to be great.
Yeah. And then I started to play it. And at first it was like, oh yeah, this is all right. I like the story. And then I just got deeper into the combat, and it was just kind of like, this is repetitive, and it's not that good, and it's a lot of sneaking around, and I got to throw a bottle and distract this dude and run over here. Oh my gosh, I ran around the corner and there's a guy. I'm dead. Let me start over again. I've ran out of bullets because I only got 6 bullets because I can't find enough bullets, and and it just. At first I thought, well, maybe it's just the frame of mind I'm in, or something that was going on. I'll try it again on PS4. Nope. I liked it even less when it was on PlayStation 4. But don't deter that. Don't let deter it from playing it. You.
Well, sure. There's always an exception to every rule, right? I mean,
I'm not going to
universally loved things.
Yeah, people are not going to like every game.
And that's okay.
Believe it or not, people are not going to like it.
What? People have different opinions than my own?
What? How dare they? Well, let's get into the news real quick, because we actually got some really cool news stories. For most people, they probably know who are Nintendo fans. There was a ton of stuff, Nintendo stuff leaked on, as much as I hate to say it, on 4chan. Please do not go on 4chan and hunt it. Just don't. You can find it other places if you really want.
Yeah, please
stay away from
for the 4chan. Sake of your hard drive and your own mental and moral sanity.
Yeah, don't go there. They're calling it a Giga Leak because it's the biggest leak ever from Nintendo. It was a data breach in May. Then it's not that it's the user information and login information was said to be part of the leak, but it wasn't accessed or wasn't able to be accessed. So you don't have to worry about necessarily. I changed my password anyway, but but mostly what it was a leak of was prototypes of popular games like Mario 64, Yoshi Island, Ocarina of Time, a lot of code from that game. it's just, I mean, there's so much to sort through.
Yeah, there's like early Pokemon stuff.
Yeah, Luigi was in Mario 64. There's a there's a Luigi
apparently
skin.
Yeah, apparently, Pilot Wings was originally going to be a game called Dragonfly, where you play as a dragonfly and shoot things in your way.
Yeah.
And there's like sprites that were put up. There's some
yeah.
weird Donkey Kong sprites from an unreleased Donkey Kong game.
Yeah. And the prototype of Yoshi, he was way more dinosaur than he turned out to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, with something like that, like that, you know, they spent hours upon hours of you know, getting that design how they wanted, I'm sure.
The Star Fox 2, there was some more stuff.
There's alternate Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart sprites. There's Mario with wings instead of using the cape.
The Ocarina of Time is the 64 disc expansion. You know, that was never released. That many people had talked about, and it was rumored to have been around, but when the 64 DD didn't, you know, come to fruition, you know, they kind of got rid of it. But yeah, I mean, it's on there. I mean, there was just so
There's
much.
just a bunch of stuff, early prototype things that you know nobody else was meant to see.
I really want to play that Dragonfly prototype.
Yeah, that looks neat.
Yeah. And you know, like we said before, like me and you were talking about off air, is the modding community will love this. The ROM community will eat this up, and you'll. Well,
they're gonna put this stuff playable, make it out there in the limelight.
Yeah, they'll put Luigi back in Mario 64. You'll see them ROM hacks come out.
There'll be those extra Super Mario Kart variations, characters, and. Now, there's one that was a bumper car. It was interesting. Some guy.
Yeah.
Looked like the Road Rash guy or something.
Yeah, the Pokemon thing was cool. There was and I don't think it's in this article. I mean, because there was so much. There was another article that I read that there was actually a quote-unquote Pokemon MMO where you bought the game and played it on your Game Boy Advance, and you could collect eggs offline. Then you plug the Game Boy Advance into your computer, and it would connect online, and you could play with other players in a more of an open world where you collected Pokemon eggs, and you could trade Pokemon eggs and stuff. It was very MMO-ish for the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much Pokemon Go, but your computer is the hub, and in the little Pokeball thing that you walk your Pokemon that you can sync to Pokemon Go was your Game Boy Advance.
Right. Yeah, so
that's really interesting, especially since that concept was brought to Nintendo by a completely, you know, Niantic came up with that concept and brought it to Nintendo, and they were like, well, yeah, sure. So it's interesting that Pokemon had a very similar concept way earlier.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff in here that this article doesn't even go into, and you're going to probably see it for the next couple of weeks, because I mean, well, like
months.
That's why they call it a giga leak. It's over a gig of of data.
This old archived stuff,
and you got to think about how much that is, because it's all NES and Super NES and N64 era. So those. You know, that kind of stuff's not real big anyway, so it's not like they got, you know, a couple GameCube games or something like that. You know, this is little megs of data, just a gigabytes of small megs of data. So, good Lord,
right.
I could only imagine sorting through all that, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if you're a follower of the ROM communities. Tuck in, get your
you're gonna see some stuff.
Yeah, you're going to see some stuff, and you're going to probably be able to play it before long. So,
it's really interesting, though.
Yeah, it is. It was really interesting. I was listening to another podcast where they were really going in deep about some of the stuff of it. It was real interesting. Analog NT is delayed until next year, but you could go ahead and pre-order it. August 3rd, if you want. They
the Analog Pocket
or Pocket. Did I say NT? Daggone it!
You did.
I even did that when I typed it in to grab the article. I typed in NT. It's just what I go to, I guess. But the Analog Pocket actually had some of the guys that I work with. Or friends with that run other websites actually sent me a message and says, "Hey, are you going to pre-order one of these things?" No, I'm not. As much as I would like to, $200 is just a little too steep for me.
I mean, it's pretty cool for what it is, and as they're showing, the up close pictures and stuff, and they're showing how good the screen's supposed to look.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be the new standard. I mean, right now, you have the Game Boy Advance with the screen mod, right, is the standard for playing these games. Yep. But if this, I mean, for just a little bit more, you get the interchangeability for things, right? I mean,
$200 for the system. If you want the dock to connect it to your TV, it's an extra $100.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of options you can do with it, and I mean, it is a neat thing, and I do like the analog stuff. It is a nice, high quality. They're high end retro machines. If you're into that, these are for your electronic techno guys who like retro, but they don't like to have a lot of retro consoles sitting around. That's who I think it is anyway. But I know a lot of people that have a lot of retro consoles sitting around that still buy analog NT systems too. So
sure, right. It's cool, but yeah, I'm with you. I think that's just a little bit out of my range for something like that right now.
And especially, when I'm happy playing my Game Boy Advance with a backlit screen, or using my GameCube with the
Game Boy player,
and the Carby HDMI adapter. I'm fine with that. I don't need the cool little text. And I tell you what, though, there is since I modded my Game Boy with the LCD screen, there are several new mods out there with better LCD screens that are a lot easier to do, and I'm very tempted to do another one and get the new screen. And it takes the little IR sensor that's up on the Game Boy Advance. You could take it and just put your finger over it, and it will act as a button to change the brightness on the screen.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they cool. Sell pre-modded shells that are already cut so you don't have to make any modifications. I'm really considering maybe this winter getting another Game Boy and taking it apart, Game Boy Advance, and getting the shell and doing another mod, because it looks really cool. And I do like playing my Game Boy Advance. I like not my SP. I like the first one with the with the more controller style. I don't like it cramped up. I like a little width to it. So.
It's been a while since I played one of those. I only have an SP, but I wouldn't mind getting a regular one. So if you do end up doing a mod and you end up, passing on the other one, let me know.
Yeah, I will. And it's got like a rechargeable battery in it, and I modded that sucker up, so it's good to go. One last piece of news. It was really weird on the 24th of July. A tweet from G4 that has not had any tweets on it in 100 years.
G4.
Yeah, G4 TV network said that they will be returning in 2021. I think it's...
In what kind of capacity? We're not 100% sure. They were bought up, right, by Comcast or something?
I think it was. That's what I'm looking through the article. I can't remember if it was Comcast or... Yeah, Comcast. Which could mean a bunch of things.
It could be a streaming sort of thing. It could be...
And one thing that... When I showed you this news story a couple of weeks ago that I didn't take into... Or a week ago that I didn't take into account... is NBC Comcast just launched the Peacock app, which is their streaming app that has all their TV shows. We're watching Everybody Loves Raymond right now. We're watching seasons of it on there because we love that show, and it's on there. My brother lives in Maryland, so that's all they have over there is Comcast. So he gets it for free. So he's just like, I never use it. Here, you take my login and you can watch whatever you want. So we're watching, we're watching all the old Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, stuff like that. And it wouldn't surprise me if G4 TV comes back on that kind of platform as well.
Right.
If they do another Attack of the Show or X Play, oh man, I would love that. Unfortunately, I don't think Adam Sessler will do X Play because he didn't know anything about it. He was setting. That's how I originally first saw the tweet, because I follow him on Twitter, and he tweeted out and went, "Oh my gosh, I am shocked and somewhat appalled that this."
This is happening without me.
So nobody knows if it's going to be on TV or if it's just going to be online. If it's going to,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, questions about what kind of it'll be back in, but in what capacity and what availability are they gonna, because it was a station with different shows. You had X Play, you had Attack of the Show being the two main ones, right? And Are they going to bring back these shows? Are they going to breathe new life into them? Are they going to have new original programming? It'll be interesting to see, but the question in my mind still pops up as, but why though? Like, I get it. Video games are more relevant than ever, but as a result, the sphere of environment the sphere of entertainment that as a society we've built around us with, the internet and movies and, streaming and stuff. There is a surplus. There's so much video gaming content out there. I mean,
there is.
I mean, look, you're listening to some right now. I mean, it's right in front of you.
If you're, you can watch it on. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're streaming this live right now. And there's
so it's like
IGN's out there, Kind of Funny Games is out there, and they're big. There's there's a lot of smaller guys that have 1 million subscribers on YouTube that do the same kind of thing, on a daily basis.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, in a world in today's society where, we have so much of this, it's like, I get it. It's more of like I said, it's more of an in-your-face thing, video games as a whole, but it's like everyone's doing it. Like this, I don't know if this is going to be the good time for them to come back. And again, I'll be interested to see in what capacity they return. And if it's like, if it's something that's sustainable, because again, with the oversaturation, it's like, are they going to pop back in for a little while and then kind of fade back out for the same reasons they faded out in the first place?
The thing is that with it being Comcast, they have a lot of money they can throw at it.
Sure.
And even if they lose money on it, if they're getting advertisement out there for something, I have a feeling what this is going to be is you're going to get a version of X Play. You're going to get a version of Attack of the Show. You're probably going to get some anime, and you're probably going to get a lot of esports on there. I mean, if you even watch Disney XD on cable, they show esports. TBS has
it's a thing
esports.
Now.
So I can see, Comcast going, you know what? Let's try to get some of that esports away from there and make a dedicated thing for it,
while bringing back a familiar brand for the season, folks. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of, because I can't imagine them just saying, "Well, here's G4 TV, and we're going to do the same thing." But I could see them, at late at night showing old episodes of X Play from the early 2000s and the old Attack of the Show.
That's true as well. They have the backlog of videos and programming. It'll all the old assets.
Yeah, I mean, and you can go on YouTube and you can pull those up. And sometimes I end up watching some of those on YouTube. And that's funny. I just now scrolling down through the article just to see any comments and stuff. And that they even said in this article and then the show notes says, "It's possible the network could return as part of Peacock." Yeah, I mean that. It seems awful convenient around that time is about the time they brought out Peacock and started pushing content towards those. But
who's to say? Time will tell. But it'll be interesting to see what comes of it, and if it spawns any new stars. I mean, what kind of new talent we'll see come from the potential programming. Because if they do give us a version of X Play and a version of Attack of the Show, and they want it spruced up for the younger audience, as it were, who's going to fill those shoes? We're going to see some interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at who came out of Attack of the Show. Back in the day, Olivia Munn, was the biggest,
the most notable one. Yeah.
I was trying to see who else? I know Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb were on there. I'm trying to pull up like the IMDb so I could see pictures because I can remember watching the show, but I can't remember who all was on that show.
At Home Dad Gamer says Ninja. Did Ninja originate on G4?
I don't know about that. That seems like a long time before he was around because this was,
or maybe that's just a random comment.
That could be
saying Ninja
because their final episode was 2013 and they started that
Ninja.
show in 2005. I'm not. Oh, he's just saying that would get the kids.
bring Ninja in as part of Exploit.
Well, and you know what? No, that's not a bad thing either because a lot of those guys, streamers that went to Mixer and got a lot of money on Mixer, are now back on YouTube or Twitch.
They're free agents.
Yeah, they're free agents.
Yeah.
So that's something that I didn't think about either. That could
if they're gonna make like their own like exclusive dedicated stream platform where they only have like a handful of popular streamers. I mean, that seems like something that they could do and be like, you know what, this is X or G4 is the new home for Ninja or the new home for whoever else. I mean there are options. So I mean, and I don't mean to poo-poo it and like question it so early on, but it's just again, like I'm worried that we might see it. There's a possibility we could see it fizzle out for the same reasons it fizzled out to begin with.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't know. It is a weird thing that just kind of out of the blue. Here we go with it's like what?
Yeah, I'm sure some people are excited, but again, it's one of those like, well, who asked for this sort of things? Like when you found out they were making a new Bubsy game, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of cool, but like who wanted, who asked for this?
Yeah, NBC Universal and them, they paid money for this years ago, so they've been sitting on it since 5-6 years ago and done nothing with it.
Maybe they're finally going to maybe it's a possibility that due to the pandemic that to keep some people on staff, maybe some people have been dedicated to going through older archived acquisitions and older properties that they've gotten through business deals and stuff to see if any of them have some relevancy of something they could utilize now.
Yeah, and
of course this is all just rampant speculation because that's how we like it here.
Yeah, it could be, but I tell you what though, to have a core place to go to with if we ever get back to a E3 or a PAX where we're having those kind of shows, and I know Jeff Keighley's kind of doing all that stuff digitally on his own, and it does good online on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. But for him maybe to have an outlet that's on a cable subscription plan, whether it's on Dish or DirecTV or your local cable company that you could get it, and him put that stuff there as well, even if it's in a virtual format. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities they could do to it, and like I said, it may not be nothing but just esports and old G4 TV stuff. Who knows?
Could be. Could be. We should go ahead and we always do this. It's funny, like we have what we call the main topic, and I'm definitely utilizing the air quotes here because it always ends up being the smallest part of the show. We're always really like we just BS for a little while, we talk about the games, and then a half an hour later, okay, let's do our headlines, and we got about 5 minutes left, let's go over the main topic real quick.
So but the main topic was we called it Put Down and Play On. And pretty much these were games you play but put down maybe after you beat it and you don't come back and play it again, versus games that you beat or play over and over and over and over and over again. And,
you have your one and dones, and then you have, oh man, I play this every year or whatever.
And Shenmue was that game for me that I play every year. I used to, there for a while, I was streaming it once a year, and it was usually around the holidays because that was when I had time off from work. I didn't get to do it the past 2 years, and that's a shame, especially since Shenmue 3 came out this year, and I didn't get to play it but I didn't do that. The other game that I continually go back to, and I don't know if me and you've talked about this or not, is Mafia 2.
I think you may have mentioned it.
I have beat Mafia 2 on PlayStation 3, 360, and PC. And I also bought the remastered trilogy collection so I could play it on Xbox One and beat it again a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
But yeah, I usually my one game I play every year usually is Shenmue, either 1 or 2. Those are ones I continually go back to that I can think of right off the top of my head. I would actually have to pull up a list of games, and I'm trying to think of one and done games that I've played. I have to think about it because I can't remember.
Well, okay, so let me throw a couple of concepts out there. So for me, like an example of the one and dones would be, and I may get some flack for this, but is Dragon Warrior, the first Dragon Warrior game.
Yeah,
it's fun for what it is. It's very grindy. It's pound for pound, the experience is extremely short. There's only like 5 plot points in the game, but the amount of grinding that you need to do to get to those plot points is crazy. The best thing about the game is the music. Yeah. And I'm not hating on the game. I know it sounds like I'm going to screw Dragon War. No, I'm not hating on the game. I know there's a lot of people that like it, but the first one is just, it's not really refined, and it's tedious to get through. And once I beat it, I was like, okay, I beat it. That was a game that I should be able to say that I've beaten, and that's it. I'm not probably never going to have the need to play this game ever again. But now Final Fantasy, on the other hand, I've beaten that one several times, and I'll still play it sometimes, especially the PSP version, the Final Fantasy 1, which is very good. I would highly recommend it. So that's kind of a direct, I know maybe that's a little bit of a biased one, Dragon Warrior versus Final Fantasy, but, that's one for me.
Trying to think. Usually the Assassin's Creed games are one and done for me. Even though I buy them and I keep them, I'll play them one time and then I won't. When I go through them, I won't play them again.
Right.
Usually it's because either A, I've done everything in the game, or B, it's just like, yep, I'm done. Let's move on to something else to watch my palette. Yeah, at Home Gamer says, I feel a lot of RPG games fall into that one and done category. Yeah, it's Phantasy Star 2 is one that I can go back and play over and over again. Phantasy Star 1 is one too. A lot of people say, oh, it's grindy. Well, once you've played it enough times, it becomes less grindy.
Sure.
And if you play it on the Switch, the Virtual Console version, they actually remove all that. You could turn all that grindiness off and just, double up your level boosts.
And you have the maps.
Yeah, and you have the maps, which helps out a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But, I'm just scrolling through some games.
No, sure. Another one that I've beaten, and this one is like, it was a really, really good game, and I'd highly recommend it. But it's one of those games that, like, once it's an ambiance experience game. So once you've experienced it, it's like you already felt all the feelings you're supposed to feel, and going back in, you're like, I already know what to expect, so it's not going to be the same. Is Firewatch. Firewatch was one of those games for me. Really, really good, fantastic experience. It was a great game. I'd highly recommend it. But once you play it, it's like you don't really have any need to play it again, just because you've already experienced it. Again, no fault of the game itself.
No. But some games are like that. That's what they're. I don't want to say made for, but I mean that's.
But that's the intended.
That's the intended of it. You go through it once and you could play it again if you want, but you're not gonna have the same feeling that you originally had when you played it the first time. But there's a lot of those games that I'll play and come back to later on down the road. Like, BioShock Infinite was one of those games that I played on PlayStation 3 and beat it and then put it on the shelf, and then several years later came back to it again, nothing going on. For some reason, I was in the mood to play it and played it again, and even though I knew how the story was going to end, but it was long enough that I'd kind of forgotten a little bit of this, or kind of forgot about that, or then went, oh yeah, I remember that now. And I like games like that, but yeah, role playing games are. That's true. The Uncharted games are one games that I really liked, played through, and I don't care if I play them again or not. Not that they weren't good games. They're excellent games, but to me, once you figure out the puzzles and and that it's not much interest in it anymore. And I tried to go back and play them again when they brought them out. They brought the Uncharted Collection out, which was the HD remasters of 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation 4, and I tried to go back and play them again. And I don't think I got halfway through 1 and was like, yeah, it's just not that it wasn't fun, but it's kind of like, yeah, I've done this before, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, some games just feel redundant, and other games just it's I don't know what it is. It just captures whatever that special ingredient is to where it feels fresh every time you play it, even though you know what's going to happen, you know where you're going to go, and it's just some games have it, some games don't. Like I could play through like Mega Man 6, for example. I play through that game probably 20 times a year, maybe. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I play it so often. But then again,
with Shinobi games. I do that. I've played Shinobi on the Genesis, since 1989, and I still pull that sucker out, 25 years later, and still play through it again, and I still get frustrated in the same parts that I always get frustrated in, and I think older games, I don't want to say older games are more replayable. But I think games from a certain era are kind of more replayable than modern games, because a lot of times now with modern games, it's more about the blockbuster, the big
what's hot right now,
and what
are all the top players playing? What are all the streamers playing?
Yeah, and and it's like, okay, I'll put in Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 or whatever, one of the Fallout games, play through them 100 hours. Beat the game. Will I go back and play that game down the road? Maybe in 20 years. Sure. I'm not going to do it every year. But Borderlands is a game like that you could just kind of, even if you beat it, you could always pop back in and play it again, and get a different experience with it being, kind of randomly generated weapons and loot and stuff like that, that you kind of, get a thing. Yeah,
and different classes and builds and stuff.
At Home Dad, again, a lot of modern games feel like they fall into the one and done. That's, like I was saying, but developers put hidden stuff like collect or achievements. Achievements hunting is a huge, huge thing. And let me tell you something. I salute all those guys that I got to platinum every game that I have, or I've got to get every achievement point in every game. God bless you. I tried to do that at one time and went, the only game on the only serious game that I ever 100% completed for achievements was Assassin's Creed 2. And I chased 100 of those stupid little feathers around for a friggin' week in that game, just trying to find 100 feathers. It was ridiculous. Took me 3 hours to find the last one.
Crazy.
But after I did that, I'm like, you know what? This is insane. Now, if it's a game that like a Telltale game that I play from start to finish and I get a platinum at the end of it, good for me. But other than for me to actually go out and say, I am going to platinum this game, I don't care.
Not likely.
No, it's not likely.
Well, and it's and I feel like this is a topic we keep going back to and we've talked about many times. It's just, that just shows you that, everyone's going to get a different experience out of playing it. Some people, like you said, have to, I'm not done with the game until I'm done with the game. I've seen everything. I've gotten everything, gotten all the achievements. And it's like, if you're not into that, it's like, man, how can you spend that much time on one game? And how is that fun for you? Going crazy, like you said, looking for these things, spending all this time. But the same thing can be said for like speedrunners who, then, reset and, keep playing the same game over and over again to get faster and faster. It's like, but that's how they're getting their enjoyment out of it. It's always fascinating to me to see, even within the single genre of of gamers, that there's, over the years, there's been so many different offshoots and on just so many different types of ways people are enjoying video games. It just warms my heart.
Well,
it's delightful.
And I remember when Xbox announced, Microsoft announced achievements, and when PlayStation launched, PlayStation 3 launched, they didn't have games with achievements, and a lot of those games they went back and retrofitted achievements into, or trophies as they called them.
Yep.
And it was just like, at first it's like, yeah, I really want to, I want to get this real hard to find trophy. It was a badge of honor. It's like, yeah, look what.
Oh yeah, it was bragging rights.
Yeah, I got this achievement unlocked, and only like 2% of people, ever unlock it.
It's the new high score. Is what it is.
It is, and but then it just got to a point where I was just kind of like, meh. I mean, there for a while, if it was a game that didn't have achievements in it or trophies in it, I didn't play it because I like to get that instant gratification when I'm playing and unlock an achievement, hear it go bling or whatever, and go, yeah, I get that little shot of dopamine. Yeah, look what I did, And then it was like, when you didn't have that, it was like, man, it's not as
feels
fun.
Like something's missing. It's not the same.
Yeah, but then after a while, it's kind of like, especially with Nintendo games, it's like, man, I'm missing out on a lot of cool games just because I'm being bullheaded about achievements. And it's like,
with those of us that had the Wii during that time, we had if the developer really cared, they'd put achievements within the game.
Yeah,
but Nintendo was just like, nah, we don't really care.
Yeah, no, we're not interested in that. But yeah, it's there are a lot of games out there I'll go back to, but what I find that more of the modern games I don't go back to as often as I do retro games.
Right.
And I don't know if that goes back to the back in the day when I was a kid playing retro games. It's like, man, this game took me forever to beat, and now I get it again and sit down and I play it for an hour, and I'm like, that was it? I beat it? Wow. Yeah. Man, when I was a kid, it was so much harder, and it seemed like it took so much longer to do. And
take that, childhood me.
Yeah.
You punk.
There was nights that we stayed up all night just trying to get past this one level in this one game because we couldn't do it, and now it's just like, I just blew through that like it was no big deal. I don't know. It is a weird thing, but yeah, there are a few games though that I always come back to, and it seems like Shenmue is always on the top of the list. And I know there are a lot of people out there.
You're always going to have your old favorites.
Yeah.
Like I know half my YouTube subscribers are probably sick of me talking about Earthbound, but that's another one that I always have an open save file on. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people out there just do not like Shenmue, and it is a game of its time. To go back now and play it does seem kind of archaic, but you got to remember when that game came out, there wasn't a game like that. Right. Games from that point on took things from Shenmue and said, we're going to run with it, like GTA and Yakuza and all these other kind of open world quotes, open world games. Was it Robert came back to the regular podcast, and he hadn't been on for a year, and he was, the first thing out of his mouth on the first day was like, our first show with you back, he was like, so how did you like Shenmue 3? Yeah, I haven't played Shenmue.
What?
Yeah, that was exactly what he said. He was like, that's a cardinal sin for someone. You're constantly pimping, well, and when it came out, there was a lot going on, and it got busy, and it just kind of sat on the shelf. So I do need to play it, though. It's the collector's edition sitting on the shelf right here behind me. It sits and stares at me every day when I sit down and play something else. But yeah, that is a cool topic that I didn't think of, and that's something that we can always talk about if you're listening to the show on the podcast feed, and there's games that you played one and done that other people play over and over again, or if there's something you play over and over again, let us know. Share your thoughts on that. Retro at the-gamer-lounge.com, or you could tweet us at backtobits, and let us know, some games out there that you either put down or play a million times, and we can talk about those and share them on the show. So
absolutely, and if you have any topics for future shows as well, feel free to drop them there, and we can we're always open to suggestions.
Yep, absolutely, always open to suggestions. So before we go, Danny, anything going on this week? I know you had your video last week. I know you're You're not streaming too much anymore, are you? Streaming?
No, no, I'm not really streaming regularly right now. And I may still have some one-off streams, but I'm honestly thinking about cutting off my affiliate and doing multi-stream on YouTube and Twitch, or maybe just trying YouTube by itself. But like, I don't want to do that while under the affiliate umbrella, so I want to make sure that I'm not, going to jump back into full-time streaming in another couple weeks when I'm, freshened up or whatever.
But I will say this: think very hard about it. We were affiliated on Twitch, and as a group, we decided we were going to try the restream so we could multi-stream all at one time. Because like people right now, if you're watching a stream, you're watching us on Twitch. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Periscope on Twitter. If you follow us on Twitter, it's right up at the bottom of up at the top of your Twitter feed is our video. We're streaming to several Facebook. We're on Facebook right now streaming. But once you cut those ties with Twitch, you will probably never be welcome to come back again.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I do, it won't be, a big deal. I mean, it is what it is. I'll miss out on my emotes, but I have those stored on my computer and I can use them freely. I used them in the, one of the videos I did recently. So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it kind of got to the point where I thought I think it's better for us to have a farther reaching audience than it is to be stuck on one platform. Now, saying that, we were streaming to Mixer too, and now Mixer's gone, but whatever. But I don't
sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, I don't think YouTube or Twitch or Facebook are going anywhere.
Right.
But
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll be putting out another video in about a week and a half. I've been trying to put them out every 2 weeks or so. Again, I just put out the last video last week, Games for Kids. Check that out on the YouTube. But and again, I'm not saying I'm not going to stream anymore. Just I'm not going to be regularly streaming. It's kind of nice, having some nights to myself and not being stretched too thin. So I
understand. I tried to stream a lot, on the channel, and it's. Especially now that I'm working out of town most every day, it's like, I come home at night after driving for 4 hours, and it's just like, I barely sit down and play games, much less sit down to play a game and stream it,
and have, witty things to say about it while you're doing it.
Yeah. So I totally get that, but yeah, so, we'll be looking forward to that because I always, I try to watch your videos when they come up. So, and not that they're not always enjoyable, but the last one was pretty neat. I liked that; it was pretty good. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitch. Like I said, Twitch, YouTube, wherever. If you want to come join us live and be part of the chat, or that's cool. You can get us on any podcatcher. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Play. We're on Apple Music. We're on all that too. So you can get us there as well. So just search Back to Bits in your catcher of choice, or check out the -gamer-lounge.com, and I've got links to everything there. So all nice and easy where you can find it. So all right, guys. Well, thanks again for hanging out and listening with us, and we'll catch you again in a couple weeks.
Take care.